In today's video, we are going to go through the forecasting calculation methods and use cases, which you might need in your daily work and even like for different departments, either you're working for optimization or solution and so on. This is actually one of the most important functions in our work. So let's go through this one and explain what is the current calculation methods we have and use cases as well. So first question you might ask yourself, why do we need forecasting? And what are the common use cases in our field, especially? Actually, the forecasting, we need it for three main things. First one, for the use cases, we might need it to calculate the expected traffic increase. So why do we need to calculate the expected traffic increase? For example, it can be used as inputs for the capacity evaluation preparation for future projects. What it means by this? Let's assume you are working for a solution department or any of the things which the customer requested to prepare the requirements for the upcoming years. Let's say that now we are 2023 and customer requested you to prepare the requirement for 2024 and 2025. So in this case, you need to make a forecasting for the network traffic profile, the network, and for the other stuff in order to recalculate and check what is the network requirement to be covered in 24 and 2025. The second thing, it can be to calculate the BRB utilization growth or increase it can be either per cell or per network based on your own requirement. And this can be used as an input to proactively identify any future network bottlenecks. And also you can locate any development area yourselves that you can, based on the traffic growth for particular sites or the BRB increase in this particular area, you can identify that there's some particular area having a very high rapid increase in the traffic growth and also the BRB utilization. And this accordingly be one of the development area which you need to locate and look into in the futures. And for the future bottlenecks, actually, this also can be used either for the solution area or even area owners. Let's assume that you are area owner and you want to highlight and address the risk for a particular area. Even the current situation is not very severe. However, based on the traffic growth, you're expecting that after 3 months from now, the situation will be that, for example, 90% of the cells will be heavy utilized, and this will impact badly all your inputs and network, even user experience or whatever metrics you are having in your network. The third one, it can through calculating the 4G and 5G traffic even share or growth factor. Why we're focusing on this part? Because as you may know that in the networks, the 5G traffic share is not that high. So investing more in 5G or making refarming for 4G, this need to be predicted, or you need to give some guide for the customer when and where to do this. When and where this can be also based on the same inputs we can make forecasting for the 5G traffic share for just to know, like for example, at which particular time or date they can start investing or making refarming the 4G in order to improve the user experience. So this can be used as an input for right timing for either refarming or investment in 4G or 5G. So this is actually summarizing the most common use cases when you need to use the forecasting. Now let's go through the forecasting methods. Then we'll go through in details one by one for the forecast methods in Excel as well. So now, okay, forecasting methods. What is the calculation methods we have? This is actually the forecasting methods which you can generate through the Excel files. We have in general 3 different forecasting methods which all rely on historical data. And as mentioned, this can be generated through Excel file. So what kind? First one is using forecasting Excel formulas. Okay, we in this one categorized into 3 bars. The first 2 bars, this is using embedded formulas inside the Excel itself. Excel having his own formulas for the calculation, for the forecasting calculation. One using linear algorithm, and the other one using something called ATS, which is exponential smoothing algorithm. And the main function or the main advantage of this one is including the seasonality. For example, if you're having some peaks in some particular months, which is fixed every month, this one will consider this one, which is not actually available in the linear point. And this function was introduced in 2016. The third one, this can be done based on manual calculation. To, for example, if you want to predict or forecast the traffic growth, you need to increase the overall growth factor. Then you can, from the overall growth factor, we can calculate the monthly growth factor. And based on this one, you can make your forecasting. We'll go through each of those examples to make it clear in the Excel file. The third example, the second one, forecasting method, is exactly same as the forecast ETS, which is using the formula. However, this one, it's a function in the Excel, which is introduced in 2016. This can directly draw the data, giving you the overall forecasting expectation, and it's having something called upper and lower limit. We'll go through both of them. The third one, this is the easiest way, which is also a linear function. If you have a chart and you just need quickly to draw a trend line showing the forecasting based on the historical data, this can be done through the chart itself. From my point of view, the most used and recommended formula to be used is the forecast ETS formula, or this method, which is also using the forecast ETS, which is called the forecast sheet, because actually this one is considering the seasonality, so it will show all the time a logical trend. Let's now go through the Excel file for each one of those to show the actual differences and why and how to make the calculation. In this part, as you can see here, this is the data. I have categorized this data into three parts. One called traffic data, one for the 5G traffic share, and one for something called airport passengers. Now let's go through all these calculation methods to see how you can make it and what is the exact difference between all of them. Let's use the traffic data. This is the data. You have the data for January 2018 till September 2019, and we would like to calculate the forecast ETS, forecast linear, manual forecast. I already have my formulas here. I will delete it all, and then we can generate it again. So here I'll just copy the month of September. Now we need to forecast from October 2019 till December 2019. So the first one is forecast ETS. How this one do? As I told you, it's embedded function. So it's called forecast ETS, exact same name. So what is this actually request? It need the target date. Our target date is October 2019. We'll keep it. Then after we need the values which is the historical values. So the historical these values from till January, we need to fix it because this will be using for all the months. Then after it's asking for the timeline. Our timeline also for the historical time from September 2019, starting from January 2018. Then you will fix it as well. Then the seasonality, you can just give this one as one, means yearly. So this one you can have 12 months within it. Then the last one also give it one. This means if you have a missing data, the system will make automatic filling for this data using linear interpolation. So I give one, then you complete it. And that's it. Then you can just drag down the data until the last month, and that's it. Then let's go through the linear forecasting, and after we finalize all the calculation, we will draw all of them to see how the data will looks like. So this one is called forecast linear as well. You can see this function here. Then it's asking you for the X. X is the target date, which is October 2019. Then again, it's asking you for the values, which is called known YS. This is the historical values. Also fix this one. Then also for the date XS, this is the dates. But as highlighted, this one has no seasonality, so you will just directly close your practice. And then you drag down the date. Okay, last one is the manual forecasting actually. This one, as I told you, this one you need to be completely done as a manual factor. How? We need first to calculate the growth factor. So let's calculate the growth factor. Our growth factor will be the last month in here, which is September 2019 minus January 2018. Then we can, based on this one, calculate the overall growth factor, which is 12%. This one, calculating how many months is 21 months. Then we need to divide this value by 21 months. So this means our growth factor, the monthly growth factor, is 0.6%. So this means here we need to have this value, which means in here, this will be our increase in monthly basis plus the previous month. See, so now this is showing us the overall increase. As you can see, the values for all of them are very similar, not big differences, especially when you end up here. Very few the delta between all of them. But let's see it in trend. And this is how our original data looks like. It's like kind of linear with a big jump in January 2019. So now let's go through the trend and see how this data will looks like. You just need to take this one into pivot chart, which is already ready here. Okay, this is our pivot chart. I will remove all of this. This is our table. I'll just draw it again. This was the total traffic at the actual, the current situation. Then here, this will showing the forecast ETS. And here, this one will be showing forecast linear. And the last one is forecast manual forecast. As you can see here, all of them almost having the same values. It's very close to each of them. This much raise one question. So what is the difference between all of them? Why you have this kind of seasonality linear manual forecasting? Okay, this question will be answered when you go through the passenger forecasting trend data, because actually in passenger forecasting data, this one will be showing uh, some data with high peaks and some data of high peaks and valleys, which is will be showing high variation between month and another. So the linear forecasting will be kind of difficult. It will be explained later on. But whenever you have a linear forecasting, linear historical data, any of those methods can suffice your or can meet your requirement. However, still it's recommended to use the forecast.ets. So now this was the first three types, which is already highlighted here. Now I will go through the direct forecast sheet. We'll make this one, which is again using the same method as forecast ETS. So now let's go through the same data, traffic forecast. So now this one, actually the good point about this one, it's using the current data to predict the streak directly without making any formulas. How to make this one? You just select the data needed, which is the current data. You go through data here, as you can see here. Then you press data. In data, you can go through forecast sheet as shown here. This one, forecast sheet. Okay, you press on forecast sheet. Then you'll give you this is how you can see. You can see here, the one here in the left, the blue one is our current data. The red one is our forecasted data, and it's giving three lines. This is overall forecasting, and there is something called our confidence bound and lower confidence bound. This means that your value will be falling between both those two lines in the futures. So what kind of options we have here? As you can see, first thing saying that I need to give the forecast end. The forecast end, let's assume it's still 2020 end. So it will be December 2020 end. Then the options. What option we have here? Forecast started, it's okay, fine. Confidence interval, we keep it 95%. This like asking you if there is any seasonality or not. Usually you would keep all these settings as defaults. This one detect automatically. This one will be done automatic by the system. And this one is telling you if you're having any missing data, this will be using interpolation, or you want to make it as zero. So better to keep it interpolation to be expected by the system. And the aggregation duplicates using if you have any data with aggregation or the duplicate data to take the average of them. So keep this one as a default, and let's see what we'll have now. Okay, perfect. So as you can see here now, it gives us the complete forecasting using the actual one and upper. I can see three things came here: forecast, lower confidence bound, upper confidence bound, and this forecast will usually be between all of them, between these two values, lower and upper confidence bound. Okay, as you can see, this is exactly the same as what we have done for the ATS, exactly using the same formula. So this one, as I told you, you can use it either from here as a direct one, or you can draw it as a formula. And the second one is just calculating this one, subtracting this one by minus 90.95. This is also a formula to calculate the lower and upper limit. And this is how it will looks like. And this is one of the most efficient way for the forecasting, and it's also one of the quickest one. Okay, now let's go back to here, which is also again as highlighted before, using ETS, which is exactly the same as what you have done in the first calculation methodology. Okay, third one is actually forecasted charting. Let me take you through the 5G traffic share route again. Here. Okay. All you need to do is right click on the trend, add trend line, and then you can see this one using linear as well. And on the left side here, showing forecast forward and backward. You can just, for example, tell him that I want till end of next year, which is will take you till the December 2019, and is telling you that your traffic share will reach into up to 30%, and this is one is using still linear trend. So this one, in case you want to quickly draw a trend line and so on. This was the last calculation methodology. Now the question is here that we asked before: why here we should use this forecast ETS, and what is the differences? As long as this all is giving the same value, so why you should use it? In this case, I will answer this question through the airport messenger data. Okay. In this airport messenger data, you can see this is the current data here. We have from January 2019 till July 2013. And you can see that there is a lot of seasonality here. In February, data is dropping. We have some peaks, we have some bottoms lines, and so on. So what will happen if I draw, for example, a trend line? Let's try trend line again for the next 12 months. You can see it's giving still a linear one. It's not following the, it's like kind of looks illogical. So now let's draw all the three methods, which is ETS and linear manual again. And after we draw it, let's see what will happen. Let's see how it looks like for all of them. So I already give the formulas here as before, just to save the time. Here this showing October. Again here this one will highlighting the values. Here this one will be the timeline. This will give the season, and this one will give the, if the data is missing, you have to complete directly. And this one again, and there is no seasonality, it will just giving you the known data for the y-axis and x-axis, which is the values and timeline. And the last one will be calculating based on the growth factor, which is being calculated here from, as you can see, from January 2019 till September 2013. This one will give you 43%, and I divided by the 57 months, so I'll have around 1% increase per monthly basis. So this one will be the values. So now let's look like how the trends will look like now. Okay, here how the trends will look like. As you can see here, after drawing this one, purple color is showing the current passenger numbers. Then you have your forecast ETS, which is the green one, and you have the linear, which is the blue one, and you have the manual calculation, which is used, which is the red one. As you can see, still both of them, manual and linear, showing following a linear trend, which is looks very illogical compared to the ETS, because ETS is considering this kind of seasonality. It's taking into account. So now that's why it's giving you a very logical trend, as you can see. That's why at the end, as you mentioned before many times, it's most recommended to use the forecast ETS even by formula or by the function which I have mentioned here by data, which is called forecast sheet and so on. Okay, now let's go back to our PBT. Okay, as mentioned. So as a conclusion, the most recommended one is the forecast ETS, which is called exponential smoothing algorithm. And let's recall now why it's the most important one. Okay, this was as a summary of the data. In case we have a linear trend, all the forecasting will giving a similar values if the historical data is using a linear trend. In this case, it doesn't matter which one to be used, but again, it's recommended to use the forecast ETS one. Then this one was whenever you're having a lot of seasonality in your current historical data. So if you use the linear one, this will give a completely logical data. So it's recommended to use the forecast ETS to having a very logical output as highlighted here. And that's it for this video. And thank you for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next videos. And I hope if you like the contents, please subscribe and follow my channel. Thank you very much.